Have you ever seen a movie with an actor who did such a phenomenal job with the role that you've wondered how much of that was God given talent versus preparation? Like if you took someone with zero talent, how long would it take them to do something that was done in the movie? Well, in this video, we're talking Tombstone, Val Kilmer, and coin flipping.
The Consistency Project.
If you haven't seen Tombstone, it takes place in a small town back in the Wild West days, when gun duels were legal and frequent, and every man of age carried a pistol on his hip and had a mustache of some kind. The finest performance is put on by Val Kilmer, who plays Doc Holliday. Doc is a man of many talents. He's a well-read, gun-slinging, piano-playing, drunken philosopher who can speak Latin, draw his pistol faster than any other man, and relieve you of all your money at the poker table. In his character's opening scene, he shows off just how much talent he possesses in a subtle yet effective way, flipping the coin through his fingers at the poker table. In watching that scene, I began to wonder, how many hours did Mr. Kilmer have to put in to be able to execute that move on camera? And since I don't have his direct line, the only other option was to find out for myself. I set off on my journey with one objective in mind: get the gold. And the goal in this case was to be able to build up enough skill to flip the coin 5 times in a row without dropping it. And being the adventurous spirit that I am, I made this a solo voyage, meaning no outside help. The only tape I reviewed was that of the movie. Other than that, I made my own road, and by hook or by crook, I was going to ride it all the way to the end. Speaking of the end, what was my strategy to get there? The coin I used was a 1971 half dollar bearing the head of former President John F. Kennedy. I tried a quarter, but that was too small, and a poker chip was too light. The half dollar, coming in at 1.2 inches in diameter and weighing 11.34 grams, was just about right. I started off practicing 2 minutes a day to build up some tolerance to the humdrum nature of practicing coin flipping. It's not the most exciting thing in the world. In fact, you could say it's flipping boring, especially in the beginning when I had no skill. Eventually I bumped it up to 5 minutes a day, then 10 minutes a day, and sometimes I even did 15 to 20 minutes a day. And by the end I had practiced over 7 hours in total, over the course of 70 days, practicing 63 of those days, for a 90% consistency rating. And by then I was able to flip the coin with enough consistency that I was satisfied I had reached the end. Getting to this point though, I discovered 3 things I hadn't anticipated that may be helpful to others who are interested in learning this skill. First was practice time. I found 5 minutes a day was not enough. If I could start over, I would shoot for 10 to 15 minutes. Secondly, where on my hand the coin is placed ended up being important for me. I began trying to flip the coin near my knuckles at the base of my fingers, and by the end, I noted it was best to place the coin towards the knuckles in the middle of my fingers. A slight change that made a big difference for me. I suppose it depends on the size of your hands, so experiment with the placement. Last, how dry or damp my hands were really had an impact on how difficult or easy it was to flip the coin. If my hands were too dry, then the coin felt slippery and would slide right off my fingers. However, if my hands were too damp, then the coin would stick to my skin and it would be difficult to flip the coin over to the next finger. But no excuses allowed in this channel. I learned to deal with the little bumps in the road and made do. Just something to be aware of. One last thing. I'm not a gambler myself, but if you spend hours at the poker table in your spare time, you should be able to get the hang of this skill in short order, if you practice while waiting on the action to come back to you. As they say, idle hands are the devil's playground, so you might as well keep them busy and channel your inner Doc Holliday.